When the question came up at the dinner table, would you marry your partner again? Everyone laughed, treating it like a harmless conversation starter. We were at a small gathering with friends, celebrating a wedding anniversary. I thought my wife, Emma, would play along, maybe tease me a little as she always did. But when she smiled faintly, looked straight at me, and said, "Never," the entire room fell silent. At first, I thought she was joking. I laughed, waiting for her to say something like, "Just kidding." But she didn't. Her eyes stayed on her wine glass, and I saw something in them I hadn't noticed before: distance. My laughter died in my throat, replaced by a strange, heavy stillness. Everyone quickly changed the topic, but I couldn't stop hearing that word echo in my head. Never. When we got home, the silence between us was thick. I tried to lighten the mood, asking, "So, was that a joke?" She didn't answer right away. She just started removing her earrings, her movements calm but cold. "No," she finally said, "it wasn't a joke. I just said what I felt." Her words hit harder than any argument we'd ever had. I wanted to yell, to demand an explanation, but instead, I just sat there on the couch, staring at the floor. We had been married for 9 years. Sure, we'd had our rough patches, long hours, small fights, financial stress, but I never thought she regretted marrying me. Apparently, I'd been wrong. The next morning, she acted as if nothing had happened. She made coffee, asked if I wanted toast, and talked about errands. It was maddening. I finally asked her, "Why would you say something like that?" She sighed and said, "Because sometimes, I wonder if we settled instead of chose each other." That line broke something inside me. For the next few days, I barely spoke to her. I went to work early, came home late, and avoided eye contact. I couldn't decide if I was angry or heartbroken. Late one night, I sat in my car outside the house, unable to go in. I thought about the early years, how she used to wait up for me, how she'd fall asleep on my shoulder during movies, how she'd laugh at everything I said. Somewhere along the way, we'd lost that. A week later, I found an old photo album in the closet. It was filled with pictures from our honeymoon: messy hair, sunburned faces, pure joy. I left it open on the table, hoping she'd see it. That evening, she did. She stood over it quietly, tracing her finger along the edges of one photo. Then she whispered, "We used to be happy, didn't we?" I nodded. Yeah, we did. That night, we finally talked, really talked. She admitted she'd been feeling trapped, like our marriage had turned into a routine instead of a relationship. I admitted I'd stopped trying to make her feel special. We both had become comfortable in the worst way, living together but not really living for each other. For a few days after that talk, things were awkward. But something shifted. She started asking me how my day was again. I started cooking dinner sometimes, even though I wasn't good at it. We began taking evening walks, silent at first, then slowly sharing stories again. It wasn't magical or sudden, but it felt like a beginning. One evening, I wrote her a note and left it on her pillow. It said, if I were asked the same question, would I marry you again, my answer would still be yes. Every single time. I didn't expect her to respond. But the next morning, I found a note in the same spot. It said, maybe I said, never, because I didn't want the same marriage again. But a better one, with you, yes I would. That note changed everything. It didn't erase the hurt, but it gave me hope. We began going to marriage counseling. It wasn't easy. Facing our mistakes out loud was painful, but it helped us understand that love isn't something you keep by chance. It's something you rebuild on purpose. Months later, at another gathering with the same group of friends, the same question came up again, almost as if life had set the stage for us. Would you marry your partner again? Someone asked. This time, I looked at Emma, and she looked back at me. She smiled, a real one, and said, yes. But only if he promises to keep trying. Everyone laughed, and so did I. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. The same people who had felt awkward at our first answer now clapped, and for the first time in a long time, I felt proud, not just of her answer, but of us. That night, while we walked home hand in hand, she whispered, thank you for not giving up on me. I squeezed her hand and said, thank you for telling the truth. Because sometimes, love doesn't end with pain, it starts again because of it. And if anyone asked me that question today, would you marry your partner again? I wouldn't hesitate. I'd smile and say, yes, especially after what we went through.